Welcome to Glen Meditation. Today I'm going to try to cover a pretty difficult subject. I'll do my best to try to get it all in one video. Today I'm going to talk on my theory, and again it's just my theory, I'm not claiming to be an expert, on overcoming addictions or patterns or behaviors or things that affect you in a negative way. And that sort of is the definition of the addiction. In life we all want to do stuff. We're not saints, so we want to get into stuff, but the stuff that gets repetitive to the point that it affects us in a negative way is sort of how you define an addiction. Today I want to talk about some ways to try to possibly break them or become more aware of them. Anyhow, we'll try to break it down. Basically, what I do when I have a behavior that I start to notice, I don't wrestle with it to begin with. I think wrestling with an addiction gives it too much power, and it kind of leads into the guilt cycle, so where you're not wanting to do something, but you end up doing it, and then you feel guilty about it, and then you do it again, and then it just creates a pattern that folds on itself. I remember watching a girl in Australia when we were on a trip. She would talk about how she was fat, and then if she ate chocolate she would get fatter, and that she wasn't going to eat chocolate, and then the next place we'd stop she would buy chocolate and then eat that, and then she would complain about eating chocolate for the next few hours. And it was kind of, that's how I always remember the guilt cycle with that. I think when you want to make it really simple, you just call it an addiction, a pattern, or behavior, or whatever you want to call it. When you get to the point that you don't want to do it anymore, the power is in choice. So when you get to that point, you have the choice to either do it or not, and then you see what's on the other side when you do it, or what's on the other side when you don't do it. So it just comes down to that. If you have an addiction that's not at that point where you actually have a choice, what you can do is start watching it so that you're not using it as a way of escaping, because a lot of addictions are a way of numbing ourselves out, or escaping into a place where we're unconscious or less conscious. So if you start watching your addiction, and so it doesn't have the power to make you unconscious, it'll lose that power. So how does this work out in life? Say your addiction was smoking. So when you used it as a way when you're stressed, or if you're in a situation where you want to get out of, so you could go out 5 minutes outside and be away from your stress. When you go out to have the cigarette, be more present in that situation. So everything about the cigarette, like lighting it, watch yourself. When you're smoking it, taste the smoke more. It's a pattern thing, and if you're using it as an escape, the more you bring awareness to it, it'll help you with practicing present time consciousness. But at the same time, you'll start to get more and more into why you're doing the addiction, and you'll become aware of it. And my experience is, just using that technique, the momentum of the addiction will start to, it'll start to unwind just by being aware of it, and it'll start to lose its strength over you. Or if you're the type of person that can just, you're at the point of making choices and the momentum is less, then you just make the choice either to or not to do something, and you take the consequences. So that's where the responsibility is coming in. You're at the point where you can make responsible choices, and then you suffer the consequences or you get the benefits. And that's a very powerful place to be. If you're a really powerful person, you can just do that from the beginning. You see that you have a behavior and it's not something that you want, so you see right away you can make the choices or not. But again, if you can't do that, start being more aware of when you're doing things and be present with it, and that'll start to lose its momentum at that point. This is a difficult subject, so I'm going to have some pauses where I think, and I don't want to just remake the video just because I have a pause point. So anyhow, give me time here. So basically, to cover addictions, there are behaviors that we do that don't serve us. And oh yeah, the point I was trying to get to is the reason why we do most addictions is we're trying to avoid emptiness. So we're trying to fill our lives in and be full, because basically people don't like change and they don't like uncertainty. So we try to fill in emptiness. So a lot of these things we're doing are just ways to avoid stuff. And if you're on the meditation path or the diet path, you'll start to confront a lot of these things. And so a lot of the things are just to avoid emptiness, or also to avoid pain. So addictions serve to be numbing things. So we do them to numb ourselves out. So one meditation that you can do to see that you're not avoiding pain is where you sit and you scan your body, and then you find the most powerful sensation. If you have some pain in your body, it's a good opportunity. And try to put your mind more into the center of the pain and describe it to yourself. And sit with that pain each day rather than doing behaviors that make yourself busy or things that you do to numb out. And just by sitting with your pain, a lot of the momentum to addict to things will go away as the pain patterns start to subside. You'll also find that you'll probably, if you're like most people, once you solve certain addictions or behaviors or patterns, other ones will come up again to try to help you to avoid things or to avoid emptiness or pain. So if you're not really scared of the emptiness, like if say you have an addiction of drinking and you stop, you'll probably find your life becomes empty because the people that you're around fall away and stuff like that. So you'll have to face an empty situation, and that's good, because precluding change is emptiness. You know, you're creating the space for new things to come into your life, and that's one of the most powerful things about making changes, is that you're letting go of patterns, and then into that space new things can happen. So it's a good thing. So remember, you want to watch what you're doing and be present while you're doing it. You know, while you're eating the chocolate, really taste the chocolate, be present with it. And as you start to get to that point where you can make the choice, it's simple at that point. You can choose not to do something or choose to do something, and then you're taking responsibility for the consequences. Anyhow, that's just my 2 cents. I'm not claiming to be some addiction expert. I've just had a lot of experience since I started meditating and patterns coming up, and I've worked with lots of people on that. And so that's my video on addiction and addiction theory. Take care. Good day. Bye-bye.